Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to today's Caffeine for the Soul. And today is one of my favorite topics because it's one of the things I've come to see about life that seems so kind that I almost, certainly when I first came across it as a teaching, I was very suspicious of it. And I first came across it in the teachings of the Scottish mystic Sid Banks. And he said, the only two ways to raise human consciousness were to listen for truth and search for beautiful feelings. And the place you search for the beautiful feelings is inside yourself. Now, my spiritual explorations up until that point in time, truth was an interesting one. Yeah, you listen for truth, but which truth and whose truth and levels of truth and all that. I kind of knew about that one. But most of the things that I had heard said if you really want to grow, you've got to struggle. You grow through pain. You grow through struggle. You grow through suffering. Even in relationship, I'd been taught, we don't come together for life. We come together for learning. Now, that always seemed to me like it kind of sucked as a setup. But since that was the way I thought it was, I was okay with it. It was just like, all right, well, I guess that's just life. It's a school, and there's going to be lessons, and you got to keep getting the lessons repeated until you learn them, and it's not going to be pleasant, but it'll get more pleasant as you go. And yet, when I heard Sid talk about that nice feelings would bring you all the knowledge that you seek, that with nicer feelings, you'd have a clearer mind, and that with a clearer mind, you'd have nicer feelings, and that unpleasant feelings just created unpleasant perceptions of the world, and that all feelings are filled with knowledge and information. I kind of knew it was true, even though I'd never heard anybody talk about it that way before. And while I'd always been looking for nicer feelings, I'd always been looking for beautiful feelings, I'd always been trying in some way to get high, to get away from all my negative feelings and my depression and all that entailed, I thought it was an escape. I thought if I was a real man, if I was really dedicated to growing spiritually, I would learn to accept all the bad feelings and take on all the bad feelings. So I kind of looked down on myself for even wanting nicer feelings. But somehow, as I said, when I heard Sid talk about nicer feelings, beautiful feelings, quieter feelings, peaceful feelings, living in the feeling of meditation, in the feeling of the space before thought, I started to feel more. And I didn't just feel more beautiful feelings, I just felt more because I wasn't afraid to feel, because so much of what I was feeling was nicer. And with those nice feelings, sure enough, I started to live in a nicer world. As the beautiful feelings filled me up, I lived in a more beautiful world. One of the examples I often share was when my son was born, my firstborn, Oliver. And they handed him to me like 30 seconds in, and I was terrified. I was not excited about having a kid. It was like scary to me. And they handed him to me, and I filled up with so much love that it changed everything about the way that I parented from all the ways I'd made up parenting would be. Because from that nicer feeling of love, it was obvious how to be with him and what to do with him. And I began to see that that was true everywhere. And I began to see that I could give myself beautiful feelings, by listening to myself, by tuning in to what I knew, to what felt right for me, to what I actually wanted. That I could kind of clear away the icky, noisy thinking in my mind, and my feeling level would rise. And that when my feeling level rose, all sorts of things became obvious to me, became apparent to me. And to me, the fact that living in beautiful feelings actually makes life easier, actually makes us more effective in the world, just points to an incredible kindness in the design of life, in how well human beings are made. So if this is a new idea for you, I encourage you to sit with it. Listen to this one again. Every time you start feeling like you're supposed to feel bad, and that not feeling bad is bad, just drop all that and let yourself fill up with beautiful feelings and see what happens. Have fun, learn heaps, happy exploring, and I'll talk with you soon.